Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami, dhammam saranam gacchami, sangham saranam gacchami, tudayambi buddham saranam gacchami, tudayambi dhammam saranam gacchami, tudayambi sangham saranam gacchami, tadayambi buddham saranam gacchami, tadayambi dhammam saranam gacchami, Tadayambi Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas. May I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas. May I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from the happiness beyond suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this. Great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every types of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, I vow to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, I vow to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayata Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Buddhi Soham. Tayata Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Buddhi Soham. Tayata Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Buddhi Soham. So now get yourself comfortable for some meditation practice. Bring your mind inside your body, and we will release the tension from inside the body. So starting from the tips of your toes and working way up your legs, up to your shoulders, down to the tips of your fingers, and then back to the top of your head, or up to the top of your head. Just take a little bit of time to do this now. And when you are ready, scan your body again, just to see if there's any leftover tension that you can release. And if there is, do so. Now bring your focus to initially the tip of your nose and follow the feeling of the breath as you breathe in and out. Breathing in your nose all the way into your lungs and then back out your nose again. If thoughts arise or any mental activity arises, don't cling to it. Don't grasp at it. Also, don't try to force it away or deny it even. But simply and naturally, just let it go as you replace your mind back onto your breath. And if your mind starts to become dull or sleepy, then wake it up a little bit by refocusing on your breath more brightly. You can also add the extra technique of counting the breaths from 1 up to 10, if you like. But if you get distracted on the way to 10, go back to 1 at that time. So breathing in and breathing out, we're focusing on the most important physical thing that we do. So physically, all you have to do is be here and breathe. Mentally, all you have to do is focus on the feeling of the breath as you breathe. And if your mind starts to become distracted, either overly active or dull, then utilize the antidotes by replacing your mind back onto your breath. Very simple, uncomplicated. But because we have the habit of being distracted, we have to work a little bit sometimes. Sometimes easier, sometimes have to work more. So let's practice like this in silence for a little bit. So now we can feel pleased with ourselves for engaging in the breath meditation. And we can fill ourselves with universal loving kindness. I thought today we'd start the loving kindness meditation actually with forgiveness meditation, which so often is introductory really for the practice of loving kindness. I won't spend too much time on the details, but first of all, we forgive ourselves. So we sit with ourselves, we fill ourselves with this wide light, universal loving kindness, which also includes forgiveness. So we sit with ourselves, or if you want to use your creativity, you can imagine yourself in front of yourself, or you're looking in a mirror or something like that. And in your mind, you say to yourself, I am sorry for doing some things that I should not have done in the past. And I'm sorry for not doing certain things that I feel I should have done in the past. Please forgive me. And in your mind, you say, yes, I forgive myself. For these things are in the past anyway. And I will learn from them to engage in the things that I should do, think, say, and so on, and to avoid the things that I shouldn't do, think, or say. I forgive myself. And now you can visualize somebody in front of you that has brought you harm in the past. This will help you put down any mental baggage that you're carrying around from this experience or these experiences. Any things like vengeance or grudges, what I mean is like vengeful thoughts, things like that. And imagine that they say to you, I am sorry for harming you in the past. Please forgive me. And knowing that it was in the past, you do forgive them. You say to them, yes, thank you very much for saying sorry for harming me in the past. I do forgive you. And you both can think or say, we are now both free to move forward in our lives, free from these negative feelings or any negative feelings and the like. And now you can visualize somebody in front of you that you have harmed in the past. And you say to them, I'm sorry for bringing you harm in the past. Please forgive me. And they look at you and say, thank you for apologizing for the harm you brought to me in the past. I do forgive you. And you can think, okay, we are now both free to move forward in our lives without any negative feelings. So now, once again, reinforce this white light filling your whole being, the white light representing universal love and kindness. Your body and your mind can feel very light, very gentle, with no worries. So you fill yourself with so much white light or loving kindness that it now overflows and radiates outwards from your heart center and enters into the heart centers of your loved ones in front of you. filling them with the universal love and kindness in the form of the white light. May they be happy. May they be free from suffering, and may they be peaceful. Now also include strangers and do likewise. And also enemies and do likewise. May all of these people, the three different types of people from your own perspective, may they be free from suffering, may they be happy, may they be peaceful. And now we will include all sentient beings, not just the people now. Initially around your immediate area, all the sentient beings that live on the land, in the waters, fly through the air, whether they're born from wombs, eggs, moisture, or through transformation. Extend this loving kindness by radiating this white light from your heart center to their heart centers and filling their whole being with the universal love and kindness. And now to all sentient beings throughout your whole state or county. And all of the states and counties throughout your country. And all of the countries throughout the world. Initially those you're familiar with and may have an affinity towards, as well as those you're indifferent towards, which I imagine is most of them. And then to the ones you may have some negative feelings towards too. And have your loving kindness also pervade throughout all of the oceans and other bodies of water, and down to the core of the earth and to the outermost atmosphere. And throughout the whole solar system too. And all of the solar systems throughout the galaxy, and all of the galaxies throughout the universe, and throughout infinite space. And today we will switch techniques now before the dedication prayer and the Dharma talk to the Tonglen, or giving-taking meditation, to develop more and more compassion. Realize the bodhicitta. So you can visualize innumerable sentient beings in front of you. Or if you find it hard to do that, just imagine that they are. And on the out-breath, the exhalation, you will radiate the wide light from your heart center, entering into the heart centers of all sentient beings, giving away all of your happiness, merits, good karma, good conditions, everything you find pleasing, you give to others, giving them the happiness and the conditions they need on the path to enlightenment, to realizing their true nature. And at the same time, we decrease, eventually diminish, eventually destroy our attachments. And on the in-breath, the inhalation, you take the black smoke from the heart centers of all sentient beings into your heart center, and it melts away, taking away all of their sufferings, all of their mental afflictions and so on, and destroying your ego and self-centeredness. So breathing out the white light to all beings, breathing in the black smoke, freeing them from suffering, helping them to be happy and eventually realize enlightenment. And also yourself, freeing yourself from attachment and the ignorance that it arises from. So let's practice like this for a short while. Breathing in, breathing out. And so now you can feel very pleased again, filling ourselves with kindness and compassion, working our way to realizing the supreme wisdom and unveiling our Buddha nature. So let's do the dedication prayer. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious body, Chitta, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of Shunyata, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. So I thought we'd do a little bit more of the meditation techniques today. Maybe a little bit more time in the meditation practice or on the meditation practice, but also I thought we'd do the forgiveness. It's important that even if we don't do it as a formal meditation, that we're continually forgiving ourselves if we have, done some things or not done some things that we think we should have or shouldn't have, and all that, and not holding grudges. If people mean to us or anything like that, don't carry it around with you. So that's important, but also develop this bodhicitta, this great compassion and love and kindness based on equanimity and eventually ultimately based on wisdom. Okay, so I thought we'd do that today, and it kind of relates to the teachings, the second one we'll look at today. So once again, reminding you, we have commentary on Master Atisha's Heart Advice, and we're up to I think it was 47 lines. So I think we're up to, is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 41. Friends, there is no happiness in this swamp of samsara. So move to the firm ground of liberation. And the second one, meditate according to the advice of your spiritual guide and dry up the river of samsaric suffering. So I just mentioned that second one first. I don't know if you regard me as spiritual guide or whatever like that, but basically I'm teaching these methods, these techniques that have been taught to me that go back right to the Buddha, even before the Buddha's time, from previous Buddhas. And these techniques are just that, or methods, if you like. Loving kindness meditation to develop loving kindness. Tonglen giving taking meditation to develop compassion. Breath meditation to develop concentration. And of course, even in the beginning, we release the tension in the body. This helps us to release tension and grasping and so forth in the mind too. Of course, all of this, we need some level of wisdom, even if it's conventional right now. And we work our way to unveiling, to creating the conditions we need to unveil the Buddha nature. to realize the supreme wisdom and unveil the Buddha nature. So that's why we are practicing like that. It goes way back to the Buddha's time, like I said, prior to that too, and been taught these meditation techniques, taught at different places, different times, right back to that time. So more than 2,600 years in this time with Sakyamuni Buddha, okay, and onwards. And so we should practice like this. We should utilize these methods. Whether you do it every day, whether you do all of these ones every day, a few times a day, whether you do them for long periods or shorter periods, whether you do them once a week, or even if it's every now and then, okay? We should practice. Why not? You know, samsara is full of suffering. The so-called happiness, which is really just relief from suffering at that time, isn't it? The so-called happiness doesn't last anyway. So we should practice Dharma, practice the meditation. So meditate according to the advice of the spiritual guide. And I'll say this, the Buddha, or in this case, Master Atisha. Or if you're practicing these methods we practice today, you know, myself, my teachers, the lineage goes back to the Buddha. And let's dry up the river of samsaric suffering. So at the moment, maybe it appears that it's almost, you know, inexhaustible river of suffering. You know, it's continual. But actually, we can dry it up. Ultimately, if you look at it from a wisdom point of view, it doesn't exist anyway. Okay. But right now, we need to practice the Dharma to dry it up, even though it's not dry or wet. It's not flowing or static, beyond dualistic thinking, conventional thinking. Okay, so once again, that line, meditate according to the advice of your spiritual guide and dry up the river of samsaric suffering. So practice the Dharma, what you know, practice the methods correctly with good, enthusiastic effort and joy in your practice. Once again, I remind you to rejoice in the practice. And let's dry up this river of samsara. Let's free ourselves from samsara. And now the first line, there is no happiness in this swamp of samsara. Like I mentioned, even the happiness doesn't last. And you could say this so-called happiness we experience is just the results, the impermanent results of good deeds of our mind, body, and speech that we've engaged in the past. Now, if we just utilize those happy moments, you could say, if we just use them up, we don't have them to help create and continue the conditions that we need for the path to enlightenment. It's kind of like we burn them up. So don't waste them just on worldly happiness. Utilize all of this merit, all of this good karma and conditions that we have developed, accumulated over time, to realize enlightenment and to help others to do likewise. So the happiness that we experience, like I said before, really is just a little bit of relief from suffering. Even if it lasts the whole lifetime, it's just relief from suffering. And we will experience the suffering again once we've exhausted this good karma, if we don't continue to accumulate the good merit. So move to the firm ground of liberation, because samsara is very unstable, always changing, unsatisfactory, and no substance, even though we think there's a substance, we live like there is. And the ground of liberation is firm, it's secure. Liberation, here the word, we can replace this with nirvana or nirodha, cessation from the causes of suffering, enlightenment, or whatever, okay? These are all words that we can utilize to explain something that we don't realize yet, actually. But at least we can understand the concept and realize that this so-called enlightenment or liberation is secure and safe, full of unlimited love and kindness and compassion and supreme wisdom. All right, so I think that'll do for that. How long have I got to go? A little bit. I thought I'd read out some point notes in relation to unsatisfactory nature of cyclic existence. Remember, I wrote them down last year when we were having some commentary on the 4 preliminary contemplations, and specifically this 4th one, which is unsatisfactory nature of cyclic existence. And I utilized it fairly recently for a teaching I gave for the Metta Center in relation to these 4 preliminary contemplations. So maybe I'll just read them, and then I will, there's not many. And in fact, I don't even think I need my glasses because I wrote it so big. So samsara is not just this world. It's not a geographic location, nor is it just nature. So these are just points. Remember, we were practicing the wisdom of hearing, contemplation, and meditation during these classes in the past, but we won't do that today. So I just reiterate that samsara is not just this world. It's not a geographic location, nor is it just like nature. Okay, it's mental. For instance, Buddhas have lived on this planet, and yet they are free from samsara. So you could say loosely, Buddhas can enter into samsara. Bodhisattvas can enter in samsara. I'm talking about the high level, 10th level bodhisattvas. But actually, they're not affected by samsara. They do so because we sentient beings have created good conditions to have a Buddha or bodhisattvas teaching us. So they do so spontaneously, from their side, spontaneously, to benefit living beings and lead living beings to enlightenment. Bodhisattva, enlightening being, you could say. All right, so samsara is a condition of life, but it is not life itself. So often people think this world, this is samsara, from a Buddhist perspective or the Hindu perspective or other traditions that believe in this samsara, cyclic existence. They think, this world, we are free from this world. It's not the case. Samsara is a mental condition. It obscures, you could say, nirvana. As human beings, we think nirvana, this freedom, samsara, lack of freedom. But that's dualistic thinking again. Actually, nirvana or enlightenment is beyond that, okay? Beyond it all. Escaping from samsara doesn't mean being extinguished any more than it means leaving the city for a mountain retreat. The cycle of existence is a way of being. It is the condition of being propelled from the experience of one lifetime to another by the force of our mental afflictions and karma that we have created. This condition of existence and the dissatisfaction it produces is the subject of this contemplation when we contemplate samsara and the unsatisfactory nature of it. Why meditate on suffering? It's not much fun. I think you may remember this. There's many fun and joyful things to meditate on if you want. Or we could just watch a movie or eat a pizza, do all those things. So why meditate on suffering? Because the way we live is unsatisfying, and this need not continue. Otherwise, the Buddha wouldn't have troubled us by pointing out the unsatisfying nature of life, all of the Four Noble Truths. He wouldn't have pointed out that existence is suffering, that there is a cause of suffering, that we can free ourselves from this suffering by practicing the Dharma, the Eightfold Path. Something is awry, even in enjoyable things. There is an element of dissatisfaction and anxiety in all human relations, lying so often just beneath the surface. even in times of pleasure. But the fault is not somewhere outside. Samsara is not out there. It's in our own afflicted mind, in the way we experience life, in the quality of our mind. We are not functioning in accord with reality, and therein lies the problem. Impermanent, we see impermanent things as permanent. We see insubstantial self as substantial self. We see impure as pure, suffering as happiness. So that'll do. There's one more page there, but I think it pretty much covered it before. So just wanted to remind you that samsara is unsatisfactory. Because sometimes I think we us people that have good conditions in life, that have maybe, enough money to survive, enough material things, keep us comfortable, even good Dharma practice or study practice, good friends, family, and things like this, we can get a bit complacent. So I think it's really important that we remind ourselves these 4 preliminary contemplations, and today, in specifically the unsatisfactory nature of cyclic existence. So we have, just drop my glasses. Master Atisha's teachings, there's 1 minute and 10 seconds to go. The teachings that we covered today are, friends, there is no happiness in this swamp of samsara, so move to the firm ground of liberation. Meditate according to the advice of your spiritual guide and dry up the river of samsaric suffering. So I think we're a bit closer to doing that. We've got another, I think, four lines, and we'll cover them next week, and then have a little bit of conclusion, maybe 1 or 2 weeks of conclusions. We like our conclusions. To conclude, I rejoice in your goodness always. I rejoice in your studies, practice, and sharing of the Dharma. Do it to the best of your ability, not too tight, not too loose, not too much, not too little, middle part. And help all sentient beings to be free from suffering and to attain enlightenment. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya.